One of the things
Yes.
I know, Zach, is that we've seen it at our center, and I've noticed it in other centers, is a lot of times, especially if someone's already in a condition where they have a chronic disease, if you go through a period of, actually healing from that disease and detoxifying the body, the outcome may be that you become suddenly more fertile. And we've seen this where people didn't think they could have children, had something like a Lyme disease or EBV, some infectious disease. There was a lot of toxicity involved. They were on tons of antibiotics, got them off, detoxify, eliminated all pathogens, became pregnant. Do you feel like that is a part of the maybe the treatment protocol, or is it something you'd look at even with some before they do that to eliminate another factor that I believe is a big cause of infertility is biological system doesn't want to procreate in a very dirty, toxic environment, kind of goes against it in some ways. So is that a factor you look at too?
120%.
Yeah, yeah, you
Absolutely.
got it, right?
Absolutely. And you brought up Lyme's disease, which I heard there. And I have quite a lot of knowledge with Lyme disease. We have one
Yeah.
patient who had Lyme disease for years, who's going through the procedure right now. I have a daughter that suffered from Lyme disease, who's
I remember you tell me.
now been cured of it, or
Mhm.
certainly mitigated. But one of the issues that came from that was, without going into full details, but in terms of how she was treated, and ironically, the same initial doctor was for both that patient of mine and the
Mm.
my daughter. And it was interesting. The first thing he was giving her antibiotics. Well, why are you giving her antibiotics? It's a virus. All you're doing is killing the gut biome. And this is a very important thing, because antibiotics don't just take out certain bacteria, they take out everything.
It's a nuke
And
bomb, right?
yeah,
It's a
it's a
nuke
nuke
bomb.
bomb.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a great term. I like that one. I'm going to use that one. Nuke bomb. Thank you.
You have my permission, please.
Thank you. I like that one. Good, good. So the nuke bomb. But the thing is about it is that the gut's biome is, and again, very simplistically, 80-20%. So 20% of the gut biome in your guts is required for maintaining a very good, healthy structure.
Yeah.
Um, but when you kill everything and you do it with PICC lines and everything's going, because you're worried about secondary infection. What do you mean secondary infection? You haven't even got the primary infection dealt with first. Again, I understand where this comes from. It's protocol, it's convention. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's not a one size, it's not a nuke bomb. It has to be a little bit more a bit more technical than that, a
Yes.
little bit more, and that's the issue. So when you look at the things with limes, for instance, a prime example is that with a lot of people, there's a lot of lifestyle. Um, and I've lived in the States twice in my life, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast, and I've lived in other parts of the world, Southeast Asia, obviously Europe, South America. The most times I've been the most unhealthy, I hate to admit it, was in America, on the East Coast, and so more on the West Coast a bit better. But I'm also a bit more aware now, and a
Yeah.
lot of it is down to, as you say, toxins in the system.
Yes.
Drinking certain waters that have been purified with chlorines or whatever like that is not necessarily the best way to go forward. Having M&Ms that, who doesn't love some chocolate? But that blue dye on the M&M or the red one on the Skittles, it's banned in
Oh,
Europe. And
yeah.
that stuff
Right.
fries you, man. It fries you at deep levels. And so
Mhm.
once you have this chronic fry, you have to reset everything. And that concept of resetting is very hard to do, which is why we have the 90-day baselining. It's exactly for that reason, because it takes at least 90 days for the body to reset. Now, there are some people who are very, very, experienced. They're already doing the right diet, the right exercise. So we can fast track them to within a degree. We still have to monitor them and do the
Yes.
blood work and so on and so forth, but we can fast track it. But most people, if they're coming to us from a standing start, would you go and run a marathon tomorrow without doing any training? Right. Exactly. So
You'd fail miserably, I
yeah,
think.
you wouldn't even get past a
You'd
couple of
blister
miles.
up after 1 mile and be scared.
Exactly. So that the toxins is very important, and you're right, and that's why we do the gut biome. And
Mm,
again, these are things that we've learned from phase one. We didn't have this in phase one. We didn't have the gut biome. We didn't have the bone density scan. We didn't have a Freudian span, and we've discovered that this is a massive difference. And for instance, we jokingly say that I wish there was a pill that we could do that we could produce serotonin in because there's a certain gut biomes that produce serotonin in your gut.
right.
So food be the food be the food of music be the food of love, play on, kind of thing. And it's like it's very interesting because the imagine if you could take a pill and it would just be like a natural, ecstasy tablet, and serotonin is flying out, but without damaging your serotonin receptors, right? Which is what antidepressants do, SSRIs, right? They do that.
Hmm.
This is the difference, is about the way that you mitigate toxins and the way that you maximize the health of the body in a more sustainable way, a more practical way. Now, yes, we can't sell you a drug for that, because once we've taught you how to do it, we've taught you how to do it. But you still have to maintain it, and that requires understanding and re-upping every 3 years. But as we say, that procedure, we factored in that if you amortize it to a monthly cost, it's around about $300 a month.
Mm.
Well, $300 a month to keep your health and wellness. That's your gym membership and a couple of tablets that you bought on your supplements. Boom, done, easy.
Yeah.
It's not that expensive. We want to get it lower, but if we could, but we're working with what we've got.
And it
You know,
really seems the value is there. And of course,
yeah.
anyone that's been through IVF knows it's not a sure thing anyway. And you do have a lot of detrimental effects there. And of course, the emotional effects of going through it and having to pay all that, wondering, worrying, everything that goes along with it. Now, you mentioned that this idea of the therapy itself, the Rejuvicite, and going through the process is wonderful for a natural way of optimizing hormones. Have you seen any clients that have opted to go not the bioidentical hormone replacement therapy route, but tried working with you before that?
Yes.
You
Yes, we
have. Okay.
have. Yes, we have. Again, we have small sample sizes. So again, and this is where things like genetics come into play, because there are certain genetics that are predispositioned to being we can work with more easily, right?
Hmm.
So, but yes, we have. The issue is that most of the time people are coming to us as a last resort, right? And so we're now having to say, we're suddenly having to dig out, years
Yeah.
of. I think there was one lady at the conference that was sitting there with us. She was asking some questions.
Oh, I remember.
No, 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 not that one. There was another one.
Okay, not that one.
There
We're
was
like, oh,
another
I
one.
remember her, the one that
No,
just
no,
kept
I'd
asking
never met her
questions about
before. I'd
herself.
never met her before. No, but that one was interesting because she's come to us at a more advanced age. And it's unfortunate that she didn't come to us 5 years earlier. We're probably going to have the success that she wants. It's looking that way, but it's been a lot more work, a
Right.
lot more work.
Right.
So ideally, I think people should look at us as come to us as a first resort.
Absolutely.
And the other thing about that is if you come to us as a first resort, it's going to be a lot cheaper.
Right.
A lot cheaper, because we can do things that we can help you at some point. And this is the thing, we're in the longevity game. So whether you come to us now or 5 years from now, we don't mind. We want to make sure we can be the best we can be for you. And to do that, if you come to us as a first resort, we can help you with ways like just doing a full analysis report from us for a few $100 will give you a blueprint of how to live your life for the next 15 years. That's a good value for money, in my opinion.
Oh, it's a great value for
Yeah,
money. And you're so right. When you reposition things to the way they should be, I always say what we do here at the center, we're in the business of health optimization. We're trying to get you as healthy as possible. We're not so worried about even the diagnosis and managing your disease, because what is that? And if you're
yeah,
in the business of longevity, then of course the outcome of going after longevity may be or should be fertility, improved well-being,
yes,
all of that.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
when you shift the what your main goal is, everything else falls in line
yeah.
behind it.
It's true.
And
It's
that's where
true.
you have that idea of fertility that comes in there.